read the instructions carefully and decide how you're going to approach the topic. In this case, you're asked to describe a place where you have lived, right? Now, of course, it can be understood as a, this is understood as a city, all right? A place where you have lived, a city. Of course, it's not a problem to ask the examiner what certain sentences mean, especially in the second part here, all right? A place where you have lived. Does that mean a house or maybe a city? Okay? And decide how you're going to approach the topic. In this case, you are asked to describe a place where you have lived. If you have only ever lived in one place, then you should describe that place. If you have lived in a number of different places, you need to make a quick decision. Think about the topic for a moment, underline any keywords that strike you as important, describe and particularly liked. Then decide which place you're going to describe. Jot down some key ideas, drawing on your own experience, and here's an example. Now he's going to talk about Perth. Here, of course, he's mentioned the type of house as well. It's a student hall of residence, Masakin Tullab. And Perth is a city in Western Australia. So he has lived there for 2 years, and he lived there with other overseas students. Maybe he's going to talk about one of them. All right? A very friendly place, beautiful gardens, sporting facilities. But something you didn't like about the place is that you get homesick. You want to return to your home country. Right? So this is one way of solving the second part, right? By mentioning as many details about the 3 points. And if you think that you haven't mentioned enough details, go on and answer some more questions. Below is a list of possible ways to introduce the topic. All right? Don't just jump into the topic. Just begin with one of those sentences. Practice using them all so that you have a number of different openings for your topic. If you forget one, just go to the other one. I'd like to talk about, I really like this one. I have chosen to talk about 1, 2, 3. This one here. I'm going to talk about, maybe that's also correct. I've lived in quite a few places, but the one I practice is my favorite. I've really only lived in something place, so I'll talk about that. So, of course, there are, the last 2 sentences could be a very nice beginning. Of course, choose one of them, right? They could be a very nice beginning to almost any topic. I have had many sports, or I have played many sports in my time, but the one I particularly like was playing football in my schoolyard, or in my school courtyard. So, memorize some of these sentences, if not all of them, then you will have a good way, a soft way of beginning your topic. Then you express your feelings. Remember, this is not a writing task. This is a speaking task. And unlike the writing, right, you're not talking, or you're not addressing you're not addressing the reader formally. Okay? You're not talking to a group of people explaining why riding a bicycle is better for the environment. You're talking about yourself. And it's very likely that the examiner will be taking the place of a friend, an English-speaking friend. So, in the long run, of course, we are talking about a real-life situation here. You may need to be able to describe how you feel about something now, or felt about something in the past. There are some ways here in the bottom of expressing how you feel. Don't be afraid to express feelings. Unlike the writing, expressing feelings in the reading test is, in the speaking test is very, very encouraged. In the writing, try to use more facts than just feelings, or say your opinion reasonably or logically, objectively. So it will sound very natural. This is a keyword here. The most important thing here is to sound natural, and it also gives emphasis to the reason while allowing the listeners time to digest your response, to understand what you're saying. The expressions below are all in the present tense. Of course, if you're talking about something that is happening now, for example, where you live, right? So if you're talking about maybe a place you have, the only place you have ever lived in, just say something, just say it in present. I currently live in Alexandria, and that's the only place I know. But I think I like it here. It's a city in the north of Egypt, which is why the weather is nice. Apart from some humidity in summer, there's nothing to worry about really. I've lived here for 10 years or for hundreds of years, I don't know. And I live in a flat with other people who come from all over the Arab world, right? It's a very friendly city, I think. Of course, there are some neighborhoods that could be a bit gloomy, but most of the things or most of the places I need are there. There's the Library of Alexandria, which I go to every other week. There is my college, which is much better than having a college in a completely different city, and so on. So we are talking about this in the present tense. But if you're going to talk about the city you lived in, is the past tense. What I liked about Athens is that, or you could go to the beach after work. The reason I don't like, or I didn't like London, is that it took ages to travel from one place to another. It's very crowded there. There are lots of traffic jams there. One reason why I enjoyed maybe studying in my high school is that you could take some break every now and then, unlike now, where you have to work for 8 hours, exactly 8 hours. I'm speaking a lot now. One of the good things about this is being able, I think this does not have a, was being able to 1, 2, 3, and then was, and was that, okay? So let's just jump ahead and take a look at some of the, let's just practice something. Okay? If you can, please pause this video and read this question. Describe a job that you would like to do in the future. You should say why you are attracted to this job, how much training, if any, would be necessary, what kind of personal qualities it would require. I'm going to add a question here. I'm going to add this question, when and where you would expect to work. So is this a work at home job, or is it working in a school, in a university, maybe in a factory? Okay, it doesn't matter much, okay, just as long as you mention it clearly. If you can, please think, of course, pause the video after I talk about this, then you think about it for a moment. Then underline any keywords, okay? Decide on a future job or career you can talk about. This is a keyword you can talk about. Don't talk about something, don't choose something you don't know much of. Then take down at least 2 or 3 ideas for each of the subtopics. Alright? Why are you attracted to this job? 1 to 2. How much training? 1, 2. Alright? Of course, the training here could be in the form of academic training, going to the university to be an engineer. Then you need to have experience. What kind of personal qualities it requires? Teamwork, communication skills, all of that jazz. Alright. I'm going to give you, or I'll just ask you to pause the video now and then take some notes here. Take a minute to prepare. Of course, if you couldn't take, or couldn't do the work in 1 minute, you're just beginning, so it's not a problem, but try to be used to having just 1 minute. Right, you can pause the video now. Alright, so now that you have completed the list, let's see how I would answer this. Why are you attracted to this job? First, let's talk about the job itself. I want to be a scientist. Strange, really, right? But why are you attracted to this job? Maybe it suits my personality. Alright? I don't like talking too much, which is strange, me considering me being an English teacher. And I really like working, or I really like laboratories where the smell of chemicals and all that. So I like, or just write labs. Okay? Personality labs. How much training, if any, would be necessary? You need to have much or a lot academic. Alright? And maybe you have to have experience as an assistant. Right? So you work as a research assistant first, complete your master's degree or so, and then you go and become a professor or a scientist who completes his PhD and so on. What kind of personal qualities it require? So talk about patience. Talk about perseverance. Talk about maybe teamwork. Okay? So, all of these skills to be mentioned. If you run out of ideas or if you run out of words to say with time, of course, let's say when and where I expect or I want to start before 30 in the University of ... Okay? So, this is how you would, if you want, just say, who was your inspiration? Who was your inspiration? Or just say maybe, what, why, what do you expect to accomplish? Okay? Of course, it's not very difficult to write all of these points in under a minute, or just one word. So here, so academic, okay, assistance. Personality, just write personality. Just write patience, perseverance. I want to start before 30 in the university. So here, alright, and then here, before 30 in the University of something. Okay, what was the inspiration? Now, here, practice giving your talk with a clock or watch in front of you. Okay? Have a stopwatch ready. Of course, you have lots of devices that can act as stopwatch. If you have a digital watch, it's very likely that you'll have a stopwatch. And every smartphone and mobile phone has one as well. So practice having that. Now, I'm not sure about the situation in your country, but in Egypt, where I live, they allow watches in the test. So it could be a good method for you to take note of the time being spent in the, what was I saying? You will be able to follow up and take a look at your watch while speaking so that you can realize or see that you have passed a minute or so. As you must talk for at least 1 minute in the exam, you need to practice at judging this. If you don't keep going for a minute, you will be wasting valuable opportunity to show up your skills. You may, of course, look at your watch. Okay? Now, at the end of the second task, now before I take this one, let's show a sample of what I would say here. Alright? I'll have a stopwatch ready. Ironically, I don't have a stopwatch close by. So, I'm going to have this old normal watch, and I'll begin talking now. Alright, so I'm going to choose working as a scientist because of the many jobs that could be available for me. I would really like to be working in a laboratory. It's a place that you feel is isolated from the world. It's a place that suits my personality. It's such skills like talking to many people at once or satisfying customers and so on are not necessarily my strong suit, but I like the experiments that happen there. It takes patience to work in the laboratory, and it takes perseverance. But of course, as you will have many people that you can work with, okay, patience and perseverance will be not or will not be as important as having teamwork. You will have scientists to support you and to give you hope. So, of course, if you work with them very well, you will be able to have this, these other skills. Of course, your scientist friends or my scientist colleagues will not appreciate someone who is not well educated to work in the lab, so it will definitely need to have an academic background, such as a master's or a PhD even, okay, and some experience as a lab assistant before becoming a full-fledged scientist. I hope to get this experience or to be a scientist before I turn 30. I'm already in my master's degree, all right, and hopefully I will be able to work in a university or maybe the University of Oxford in Britain before I turn 30, yes. Alright, stop. Now I've passed 2 minutes exactly, and I have spent about some time spending or talking about every one of these topics. Of course, I didn't go for the other additional questions, which is not a problem because they're not mentioned already, or they're not mentioned in the text in the first place. So this is how you can talk about this topic. After you talk about your second part of the conversation, she will ask you some follow-up questions. 1 or 2 related follow-up questions that you answer briefly. Alright? You will not be talking too much about these questions, and these questions might even be closed-ended that require yes or no. Yeah. And a couple of other words. What are these other words? Let's see. We often give short answers in English by simply repeating the auxiliary verb or the verb to be or to do, which was used in the question. You must use the same tense as the question. Here's an example. Have you done this kind of work before? Alright? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. No, I haven't. Alright? So the main verb here, the auxiliary verb here is this one, have. Or do. You know? These are the auxiliary verbs, the helping verbs. So repeat them. If you don't want to be so blunt, you can just say, yeah, I think so. Alright? Come on, load up the slide. Here we are. So, if you don't want to sound so direct, you can include the words I think after the yes, or I don't think so, or I don't think after the no. But you must still include your short answer verb. Okay? Alternatively, you can use the short answers I think so or I don't think so. Here's an example. Are you going to study law at the university? Yeah, I think I am. Yeah, I think I am. Or yeah, I think so. Does it cost much to join the university sports club? No, I don't think so. No, I don't think it does. So all of these expressions are used to help you answer the follow-up questions for part 2. Were there any things you didn't like about this place you lived in? Right? We're talking about this Perth, Australia thing. So, yes, I think I didn't like the weather because it was a bit hotter than Sydney, in fact. Right? Is it easy to get work in this field? Sadly, no. I don't think it's easy. Or I don't think it is because scientists are very picky about who gets to work with them. Are you interested in this kind of work? I'm going to skip that because the entire phrase was about what you really want to work as. Did you read about this course in the newspaper? Yes, I did. Of course, you do or you don't. So be very careful with question 4. Or if you're not sure, or if you don't remember, so yes, I think I read about something like that 2 years ago. Have you studied English before you came here? Absolutely, yes. Or, no, I didn't. I don't speak English very well. You can see it from my spelling here, or from my pronunciation. Have you studied? Okay. Will you go to the university after this course? Yes, I think so. Or, probably. I haven't planned it. Can you speak more than one foreign language? Maybe. Are you going to study in America? Perhaps. Here's a joke. Of course, perhaps is a very unsure answer. Okay? And in fact, the word perhaps is the British way of saying no. So let's say someone tells you, hey, let's go swimming. So you say, perhaps. Or, hey, would you please give me your car? Perhaps. Which is the British way of saying no, go away. So you can use perhaps if you are unsure about something. Alright? This will help you. Of course, don't say perhaps if you are positive about it. Now, the third part is the discussion. You are going to talk about this. Just a moment. Now we're going to talk about some general questions about the second part. So in the first one, in the second part, we were talking about maybe a job that you liked. So we may be asked about interesting jobs in general, or we can be asked about working or competitive work. Something that is a bit general. So we will be presented with more abstract questions. There will be probably linked to the question. You'll be happy to take part in the discussion with the examiner. Be very careful here. You will go in a discussion with the examiner. Okay? This is your opportunity to show off your vocabulary as well as your ability to express your opinion and justify your ideas. Justify your ideas. You say yes, say why. Say no, say why. If you don't know, also say why. The language needs to be accurate as well as appropriate to the situation. This is a formal discussion. Alright? However, don't be afraid to say what you think. So, this is a formal discussion, so don't say any curse words. No four-letter words, please. And, alright, just say what you are thinking about. Don't be afraid of saying that. You will not be marked for your opinion. You will be marked for your language. Try to back your opinion with reasons. Your examiner will welcome your views. Sometimes, to test it, alright, the examiner will ask you some yes-no questions. Make sure you give a full answer in part 3. So, yes, I think I do. Or no. Don't say yes. No. Nah, that's just very low-level English. Okay, don't say yes. Say yes, I think I do. Or yes, I think something is better. Because. So, give a full answer. Now, I'm going to finish this lesson a bit early. Let's take a look. Now, of course, the purpose of task 3 is to explore the topic further, right? So, he will choose a number of themes and ask questions related to each theme. There will usually be 2 themes, okay, not 3. Okay, I'm just going to hold my fingers. 2 themes. Alright? So, for example, work, or let's say for, what was it? Yeah, restaurants or shopping. Okay. So maybe when we talk describe a shop that you enjoyed going to. One of the harder part 2 questions in one of the tests was describe an open air market that you enjoyed to. It's souk. It's not mahal, it's souk. Alright? So once you describe this market, they will talk about the markets in general and what is being sold there in general. Right? What is good about markets in comparison to other types of vendors, people who sell things? That's the first part. Right? The second theme could be about shops. Shops. So, just a moment. The second theme will be about shops. So, they'll ask you a different set of questions. So this is third part, the second part of or the second theme of part 3. Alright? In the last unit, we looked at ways of preparing a talk on a topic at place where you want to. So we'll continue. We will go back to page 107, which is this, right? Or let's continue here. They're all linked broadly to the topic of housing and the way we live. They can be divided into 3 sub-themes. In the speaking test, there will be 2. Alright, again, this book is a bit old. So, 4 main or 4 topics in the second part, and 2 in the third. Not 3 and 3, 4 and 2. Work and housing, architecture, housing, the state, and the state. Read the questions and see which of the 3 subtopics the questions belong to. First one has been done for you. So, we have work and housing. I'll just mark this one as 1. Architecture is 2, and housing at the state is 3. Alright? In the next page, or the next slide, we will be presented with these questions. Of course, they have been answered for us, so let's just read. Is it a good idea for people to work from home? So it's the first one, of course. Alright? That work and housing. Housing in relation to work. So work from home, or have a job next to your home, or far away from your home, so on. Would you prefer to live in a house or an apartment? Okay? This is the second topic. Architecture. Alright? We're talking about the home itself. Alright? House is a large place you live that's outside the city, that has a bit 2 floors and I think more than 3 or 3 rooms. What are the disadvantages of commuting long distances to work?